One shining example is Hamilton, because you always think of history as being dry and uninteresting.
Yeah.
And here they've taken a very clever way of taking American history and making it one of the most popular shows ever.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big deal because it brings young people to see it who love it, and it also brings an interest in history of what happened when we founded this nation.
Yeah.
And it does it in such an entertaining way that nothing else I can think of has had such an impact as that particular show.
Oh, nice.
So, and I also think Disney's had a big influence on young people because of all the shows that they've done.
Yeah.
And I think The Lion King is celebrating its 20th year, and I think that's quite a phenomenal show that young people like. So I think more and more young people are coming to the theater, and theater is influencing our culture more and more. We have more big blockbuster shows on Broadway than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
And so it's a very exciting time. And you take a show like the Carole King musical, you go see that show and you learn things about Carole King that you never ever knew, particularly about her early career, on how she created some of the biggest hits that you didn't know about, because most people think of Carole King when she did Tapestry.
Yeah.
And forward from there, and not everything that she did before Tapestry.
Yeah.
So when you go to the theater, many times you're learning things that you never even knew about, and you probably wouldn't bother learning about, but because it's put on a stage in an entertaining way,
Yeah.
it's creating a culture and interesting things about our world and our life that you're not going to normally get in the course of your day. And even with all this invention of iPhones and texting, and still the American theater is a very important part of our culture, and is growing. I mean, we have more people coming to Broadway than ever before.
Wow.
And you would think that it would be a dying kind of thing.
Yeah.
With all the video streaming and all the different ways that people can see things. But I think the live element of the stage and being in the presence, the physical presence of a piece of art or a piece of work, that you can feel the impact in person. And you can't get that when you're watching film or television or streaming. And I think that live element is something that still is really important for people.
Definitely. Okay. And one last question. What show has been your biggest inspiration? What show inspired you to kind of get into the industry?
I don't think there's any particular show, because my taste is very eclectic.
Yeah.
And I like many different things, because I like things that are edgy, and I like things that are middle of the road sometimes.
Yeah.
And I like things that are diverse. So if you looked at my body of work, it's kind of hard to predict what I'm going to be drawn to. But what I do know is I know when I like something, because when I see it, if I get a visceral reaction, I emotionally react to something, then I feel like I have to do it and bring it to Broadway or bring it to light. And I don't think that there was any one particular show that influenced my career.
Okay. Yeah, actually, wait, that actually brings up a question. That's nice. What do you like when producing a show and you're looking at all these off-Broadway shows that you might want to bring to Broadway? What's something that catches your eye? What's something you look for in a show that you think would be good for mainstream audiences?
It's really simple for me. I see a show either off-Broadway or in London or in California or sometimes in South Africa. I see a show somewhere or I read a script, and what I do is I look for my emotional, visceral reaction to it. And if I fall in love with it, then I feel like I have to do it. But there's a two-parter to it.
Yeah.
So I first have to fall in love with it emotionally. It's like a love affair.
Yeah.
And then the second part is I have to think, just because I love it, will enough people come to see it so that my investors can make their money back and a little bit of a profit, or a lot of profit?
Yeah.
So I first have to figure out those two things. I'm madly in love with it, and do I think it's commercial enough, because I am a commercial producer, to recoup the investment for my investors? And then if I could say yes to both things, then I do it.